Hello student. So welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to discuss the different classes of the bryophyte. Okay. So we are going to study the classes of the bryophyte, and bryophyte is divided into three classes: Hepaticopsida. Okay. One is Hepaticopsida, Anthoceropsida and Bryopsida. So we are going to start with the three classes of bryophytes. Now see, Hepaticopsida is also known as liverwort, Anthoceropsida is known as hornwort, and Bryopsida are known as mosses. So first, before learning it, you first remember always the examples. Then it will be very easy for you to remember. Here you have to remember only three examples. One is Rixia, Markensia, and Porella. Three examples you have to remember in liverwort. Okay, beta. Rixia you have already studied in the ninth class. Markensia is in your book NCRT 11th class. Porella they have mentioned as a leafy member. So you should know leafy member of liverwort is Porella only. Then hornwort example is only one example, that is Anthoceros. And in the thallus of Anthoceros, you are finding blue-green algae survive. So only this you have to remember here. Cyanobacteria, okay? Cyanobacteria, or you can say blue-green algae or BGA, it lives. So this is the one area you have to just remember for Anthoceros. Now, example of Bryopsida. First is Funaria, which is also known as cod moss, diagram based. Sphagnum, it is again diagram based. It is known as peat moss, also known as cotton moss, also known as bog moss. And third example you have to remember, Polytrichum, which is also known as hair cap moss. So to learn the classes of bryophyte, first learn the examples. Which example you have to study where. Now see the body first, then you start learning with the body form. So when you go with the body form, you will find the body is actually thalloid, dorso-ventrally flat, dorso-ventral flat thalloid. Means the thalloid body. Why we say thalloid? Because it does not have vascular tissue. Okay, beta. Thalloid is called thalloid because it does not have vascular tissue, and you know very well bryophytes are atracheophytes. And dorsoventrally flat. It means they are having dorsal surface and ventral surface. So just this is a diagram of a Markensia. Okay. Now here you have to draw unicellular rhizoid. This is you have to draw unicellular rhizoid. And in case of Bryopsida, because Anthoceropsida is not in the NCRT but in the competitive point they ask the questions. So that is why I've mentioned it here. Okay, and here in case of Bryopsida, the spore, which is the first cell, spore, you know very well, plody of the spore will be N. So this is the first cell of the gametophytic generation. So spore will give rise to protonema stage. The spore will germinate to form protonema. This is the protonemal stage. And this protonema is green. Okay, green photosynthetic. So let me draw it with green so that you can learn it properly. It is green photosynthetic. When we are drawing it green, it means it is photosynthetic and it can go for branching also. So it is going for branching. So branching, let us do here, do one thing. We will do this way. We will do the branching here. So this is the branching of the protonema to form secondary protonema. So first stage is coming as protonemal stage. The first stage they make protonemal stage. Okay, beta. Now it will be a rhizoid, And the rhizoid, you check carefully the diagram. Rhizoid is multicellular and branched. Let me draw the branching. This you have understood. Branching is there. And this is multicellular with oblique septa. Understanding? We are drawing oblique septa. So here the rhizoid is unicellular in liverbird, but here we will say it is multicellular rhizoid and branched rhizoid. I hope up till here comparison is clear to you. Here the body will be thalloid, but here the body will have first stage protonemal stage and second will be leafy stage. So these are the buds which are present on them. So these buds will develop into leafy stage. Okay, either they are present on primary protonema or secondary protonema. Now let me explain you the leafy stage. Now see class, this is your one, let us assume this is one protonema piece. I am taking one piece of the protonema. Okay. And this is the bud which is present here. So bud is developing into the leafy stage, which is spirally arranged. Check in your NCERT properly. You will find it. It is a spirally arranged leaves are there. So this leafy stage, and this is the rhizoid, which is multicellular and branched. So I am drawing it this way. So this is your rhizoid. This is your protonemal stage. And this is your leafy stage. This is your leafy stage. So stage 2 is leafy stage and stage 1 is a protonemal stage. And check carefully from the diagram. Stage 1 is not bearing any sex organ. Now leafy stage will bear the sex organ. That is why we say leafy gametophore. We call this stage as leafy gametophyte stage or leafy gametophore. Okay, beta. Now see here. The main axis, this is the main, this will be the antheridia. And let me use another color. It will give rise to one branch. This branch will be the female sex organ. So we will say this is leafy stage is going to be the sex organ. So we'll say leafy gametophyte. Now come back to the liverwort. See here for the liverwort. Markensia. This is your unicellular rhizoid and you are having the stalk. On this stalk you are finding this is your antheridia is present. Check the diagram please carefully. This is your antheridia present. Okay. Another thalli will be there. And this is your archegonia will be present. So first of all, see here, this is stalk. This stalk is going to bear antheridia. When it is bearing antheridia, we call this stalk as antheridiophore. Antheridiophore. And this is going to be an archegonia. So we call this stalk as archegoniophore. And this is your rhizoid. So I think so you can see in case of Markensia, this is an example of we are taking only Markensia here. So in case of Markensia, the two different thalli are there. One is male thalli, one is female thalli. So this is your male thalli. This is your male thallus. And this is the female thallus. Now, very important concept, please understand. We say bryophytes are homosporous. Bryophytes are homosporous, but Markensia is producing two different thalli. The Markensia shows physiologically heterospory. Is it clear? Means functionally they are trying to behave. One will try to behave as a male spore, another will try to behave as a female spore. Morphologically they are homosporous, but in case of Markensia they behave as a functionally heterosporous. Okay, let me write for you. So we will say Markensia is showing physiologically heterospory. Please, it is not heterospore. Bryophytes are always homospores. Please remember, don't confuse here. Bryophytes are homosporous. They are never heterosporous. Okay, this is very important line. They are homosporous. I am saying functionally means behavior. Behavior, one is trying to work as a male, one is trying to work as a female. But they are not heterospore, they are only behaving. Physiologically means behaviorally, means functionally they are trying to act. Up till here clear? Now if you see the diagram, you are finding I have drawn two thalli, one male thalli, one female thalli. So we will say two different thalli are there. So this is a case of dioecious. It is dioecious. So Markensia is dioecious. Dioecious means two different plants are required for fertilization. But in case of Funaria, if you can see, this is monoecious. Funaria is monoecious. It does not require two different thalli. From one plant only we can get the zygote formation. I hope up till here your comparison chart is easy for you to learn. Now, you know very well, now next step is fertilization will be done. After fertilization, zygote formation. Is it clear? And embryo formation. So now let us see next. Now see here, after fertilization, in case of the liverwort, first of all, you know fertilization will require water, which we have already discussed in the general character slide of the bryophyte in the previous video. Okay, so after fertilization, the zygote will develop into embryo and embryo will develop into foot, seta, and capsule. Try to understand the diagram. This is the foot, seta, and capsule. Clear? Inside this, I'm using this white color so you understand these are your color means body is diploid. Everything is diploid. Foot is also diploid. Seta is diploid. And capsule is diploid. So inside the capsule, this is your spore mother cell. Spore mother cell. Spore mother cell body is also 2N, which will undergo meiosis. And this will undergo meiosis to produce spores. So I am drawing with this color to produce spores, and spores are N in nature. Okay, so few cells I will draw it this way, you can understand. Here the spore mother cells have made spore already and few are still present as a spore mother cell. So here one cell is there, here four cells are there. So I think so color difference is helping you to understand that these are the spores and spore is already N. Now for the dispersal of these spores, we are finding one structure is present. This structure is known as elaters. These are elaters. And let me draw the elater outside to make you learn. Elaters, they are having hygroscopic thickening, spiral hygroscopic thickening, which is responding to the moisture. When the moisture is there, then they will expand just like a water ball and your capsule will rupture to liberate the spores. And again, the spore will germinate to form N-body. The spore will again germinate, which is N-body spore. It will germinate to form gametophyte body. So this is the way how they complete their life cycle. In case of the hornwort, 2N will be having foot, intracalary meristem, and capsule. Now see here diagram. Foot, it is intracalary meristem, means it is having the power of division, and this is capsule. Same diagram, it is actually having the spore mother cells. These are the spores which are produced. And it is also having elaters, but they don't have the hygroscopic thickening, so we call it as pseudo-elaters. So these are the pseudo-elaters. and these were elaters. So you have to just remember कि in case of liverwort, elaters help in the dispersal of the spores, and in case of hornwort, it is pseudo-elaters which help in the dispersal of the spores. Now see here, try to understand for the mosses. Let me draw the diagram. This is your primary protonema. This is the rhizoid, and this is the leafy stage. Okay, so this is your leafy stage, and this was the main one which is having the antheridia shifting to the side, and archegonia is coming in the center. Archegonia, this way archegonia is having venter, in which fertilization is done to form zygote, which will develop into foot, seta, and capsule. Check, this is the diagram of your NCERT. Okay, so this part is known as foot, ploidy is 2n, this is known as seta, ploidy is again 2n, and this is capsule. Ploidy is 2n. Is it clear? So this is the part of the sporophyte body, and this is the part of the gametophyte body. In case of the bryophyte, sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte. Now see the structure of the capsule. This is only capsule of this, okay? This part elaboration I'm doing it. I'm explaining you this part here. See, this is having two parts. Lower part is known as apophysis, and lower part is apophysis and upper part is known as theca. Okay, beta? And if you see here, you are finding these are your spore sac. Check carefully, you are finding spore sac. Locate carefully, these are your spore sacs. This side also and this side also spore sacs are present. The two spore sacs are there, inner and outer spore sacs. And inside them you will be finding they are making the spores. Because we call them spore sac because these are the places where the spore formation will be done. Understood? And the center sterile area is known as columella. This is a transverse band which are present. See, I am highlighting with red color. These are known as trabeculi. It is this trabecula is present. And on top you are finding this is operculum. And here you will be finding peristomial teeth also. Peristomial teeth will be present which will be helping in dispersal of the spores. The peristomial teeth will be present which will help in the dispersal of the spores. Is it clear? Now, very important concept. Please try to understand. Here you are finding chlorenchyma cells. It means they are having chloroplast. If they are having chloroplast, it means they can do photosynthesis, but they are not able to do completely do photosynthesis. So in case of the mosses, sporophyte is partially dependent on gametophyte. We will say it is partially dependent on gametophyte. Okay, not fully dependent, partially because little bit food it can prepare on its own because it is having the chlorenchyma and it is also having the stomata for the gaseous exchange, primitive stomata which is not showing opening and closing, and it is having a xylem-like structure. Conducting strand means it is only a tissue which is working, bringing the water up by the action of capillarity. There is no proper vascular tissue, please. You know very well that bryophytes are atracheophyte. They don't have vascular tissue. So it is nothing, it is a xylem-like. We say it is xylem-like. We say it is behaving like a xylem. So it is, we will say it is a conducting tissue only. We will not use a xylem term. So I hope this topic is clear to you. So you just keep this in your mind. In the both the cases, your 2N body will be foot seta capsule only, but who are helping in the dispersal of the spore? Elaters in case of liverwort, pseudoelaters in case of hornwort, and peristomial teeth in case of the mosses. I hope this topic is clear to you and this explanation is very easy. I try to make it very easy for you. Thanks for watching. Please learn it properly. Thanks.